This is just gonna be a stream of consciousness video because I've been working on my throat chakra, and healing the throat chakra is really just about expressing yourself authentically. So I figured it could be helpful for me to just speak openly and without any plan really of what I'm gonna say. It's funny because sometimes my videos are like messages to future versions of me, and like sometimes the messages in my videos are what I need to hear later on. And obviously the videos I make are things that I've realized or like lessons that I'm learning at the time. But sometimes it's hard to like hold all of it in my head at once and like to integrate all the different perspectives at once, if that makes sense. Like when you're trying to change so many different mindsets and belief systems that you have at once, it's hard to like apply all of them at once until you really have those habits built up. So I feel like when you're healing, you kind of keep going through the same cycles over and over to like solidify all the different lessons, if that makes sense. And so I made a video a few weeks ago about how when you have a physical symptom, you should look into what chakra is associated with it and work on healing that. And I've been doing that for a while now. But the other week I had like a stuffed nose. I was on vacation visiting my grandparents, and I ended up realizing that the blanket on the bed was polyester, which I'm allergic to. So I like got rid of that, and then it helped a little bit, but it didn't fully go away. And so I was trying to change the external instead of looking internally. And then the last day of the trip, I ended up waking up with pain in my neck and my shoulder, and like couldn't really move my neck that well. And at that point I was instantly like, oh, throat chakra. And then I realized like the universe had been trying to tell me all week with my stuffed nose. But it's just funny because at the time, the last video that I had posted was like literally the answer to that question and telling me to pay attention to the signals. The universe is always speaking to us in so many different ways if you just listen. And another thing that happened was one day there was like 20 bees in the pool, and they just kept like going in the pool and like swimming around in it. My dad is like deathly allergic to bees, so I don't know if I am, and I'm not really afraid of bees, but like at the same time I don't really want to like be swimming in water full of bees. And so I was like grabbing a net and trying to take these bees out of the pool, and it just like they would just spawn all over again. Like I literally would take like 20 bees out of the pool, and then there'd be more bees in the pool. And I started feeling frustrated, and I was like, I just really want to swim, and there's all these bees in the pool. And for me, when I feel frustrated, that's like an instant, like, you should look at why you're feeling this way, because that's like a sign that I'm out of alignment. Or really any negative emotion, I always try to really be aware of it and be like, okay, what change do I need to make in my actions in order to like change this negative emotion? And so once I realized that I was frustrated, I was like, okay, I'm trying to change the external again. I'm just trying to get the bees out of the pool, when I could just face my fears and just swim with them. And I feel like it's a metaphor for something that I've been dealing with a lot lately, which is trying to get over the fear of other people's criticism or caring what other people think about me, which I have come such a far way with. Like I barely care anymore, but there's still that little bit left. And it just felt like the bees were a metaphor. Like you can either try to satisfy every single person and make every single person like you and control your reality so that it doesn't hurt, or you can just be yourself and face whatever comes to you and just face your fears and express yourself authentically. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna swim with the bees. And when I did that, there ended up being like only 2 bees in the pool left, and then I just like picked those ones out, and then for the rest of the trip there were no bees in the pool. And so yeah, I feel like if you're frustrated by something in life, don't try to change the external circumstances, change the way that you approach it. And sometimes we want to avoid something, and we work so hard to try to avoid something or to try to get rid of an obstacle, when really the solution is just to face the obstacle and face the fear. And that's like really what we need to be doing. I started posting videos on my actual Instagram page, like with all the people from my high school, everyone in my life, all the people from my family, people from my work. And I started doing that because one day I did like a meditation of like releasing blocks or something like that. I'll link it in the description if you guys want to try it. And I had this realization that I've had this really intense fear of criticism and rejection that has just completely controlled my entire life and like every single decision that I make and the way that I show up in the world. And so I was like, what's something that is scary to me because I care what people think of me and because I have this fear of rejection and criticism that current me wouldn't do, that like future version of me would do. Not that future version of me like wants to be posting on Instagram even or making reels, but just that felt like a way where I could face my fear of it. And that's really how you quantum leap, I think. Like when I started this YouTube channel, I did not like feel comfortable posting videos. I did not feel ready to post videos, but I just decided like I'm just gonna do it anyway. And every single time that I've done that, my life really transforms. And so I feel like I did that with my YouTube channel, and then I did that with posting on my actual Instagram. And that's how you like quantum leap and step into a new reality. And sometimes things fall apart after and are difficult after, but that just has to happen in order for you to become a new version of yourself and to live a new life. And facing my fear of being seen, I really had to do it in phases. Like first I did it with posting for my clothing brand, and that was actually the hardest step, was like posting videos of myself for my clothing brand. And that was easier because I was like, oh, this is just for my clothing brand. Like, it's not actually putting myself out there. But that was still the hardest step because it was like the first step. And now it's really not that hard for me to post videos. It's like there's like a thought of like fear or insecurity that comes up, but there's no emotion behind it anymore. Or I guess there's an emotion behind it, but it's so subtle compared to what it used to be that I keep thinking that I like don't experience fear or anything anymore. But I think it's just that it's like really subtle now. So yeah, if you're like trying to face some type of fear, I do recommend you can do it in like small doses, do it step by step in order to make your ego feel safe with each step, and it'll get easier as you go. Or you could just like jump ahead into the hardest step if you feel ready for that. But I don't know, I think that doing it gradually is helpful because it helps my belief systems catch up to it, if that makes sense. And I feel like your belief systems are really important. Like if you believe that it's actually a danger to you to be doing something, then that might be reflected back to you. But if you can do it gradually and realize like it's not a danger and you know that it's not, and like gradually make your ego feel safe, then I think that might be a better way to do it. But I don't know, it really depends on what you want to do. It's so true that to bring in a different life, you have to like be the person that already has it and like really embody that energy. And I feel myself becoming that person more and more every day. And it's like every day I feel like I'm in a new timeline. Like the energy just feels so different. And I keep looking back on like old versions of me and being shocked by how much I've changed. And just like every day realizing like 20 things that I've healed, and I'm like, whoa, this is so bizarre. And the other day I was looking through like this journal that I have that I write down what I want to release and manifest on like full moons and new moons. And I was able to check off every single thing that I had written since October. Not the like numbers of money and subscribers, but all of the like emotional healing stuff I was able to check off. And I was like, wow, that's crazy that I can just write down what I want to happen and like achieve it within a few months. Within a month, honestly. And these are like lifelong issues that I've had. I feel like I kind of lost my train of thought. Like I don't remember what I was talking about before that. I don't know, but basically I just try to match my actions to the person I want to be. And then eventually life just catches up and your brain just catches up. But it does take a few months. And I remember like a few months ago, I was like, logically, I don't care what people think of me. Like I understand why I shouldn't care what people think of me. But I still had like an emotional charge with it. And now I don't have that. But there's still just like the tiniest bit left, but I know in a few months that'll even be even less. It's weird because I feel like when you're healing, you like oscillate between the different versions of you, like the new version of you and the old version of you. And the old version of you makes you realize like all the old belief systems that you have and all the insecurities and stuff and the feelings that you don't want to feel. And then the new version of you like gives you a taste of what's to come and helps you to match the old version of you to the new version of you. And you have to like do the work to get the old version of you to be the new version of you, if that makes sense. And I feel like the times where my life is really transforming, I will oscillate between these like really low lows and really high highs. Like after my breakup, this definitely happened, and it felt like this old version of me was dying, was upset about dying, but then I also was observing it a lot, like literally journaling. I'm still doing this, like journaling hours every day about like all my thoughts and like emotions, and really getting to know myself and spend time with myself and like examine my emotions, and then also like determine which beliefs I want to change and which beliefs I still have. I feel like I still run out of breath a little bit when I'm talking, and I know, you know, maybe it's like all my allergies and dust and stuff, but at the same time I believe that everything is like spiritual. So hopefully once my heart and throat chakra really heal, I won't feel out of breath when I'm talking. And I do believe that there's an equal high for every low, and it's like if you reach a certain high, then you have to reach the low. But as you go on your spiritual awakening journey, it's not like you end up getting to such high highs that you have to reach really, really low lows. It's kind of like the whole bar moves up, and so even the lows are like what your highest high used to be, and then the highs are higher than anything you've ever experienced. And it's not like it's like high and then low, it's more like this, but it's like it used to be like this. I hope that makes sense. Because that's something I used to wonder about, because I do believe in like the law of polarity, and like for every high there's an equal low. But so I was like, if I get really, really happy and live an amazing life, then are there going to be really, really low lows to go with that? Or is it like I already experienced the ones and now I deserve like high highs to balance it out? But I think it's more just like, it's like the bar in the middle like is moving up. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I need to like draw it or something. At least in my experience. Obviously I can't speak for everyone. And who knows if this is going to last forever. Everything is temporary. But even my lowest lows are like what my highest high used to be. And the best emotion that I experience now is like something that I never imagined was possible. And it's like every day it's even a little bit higher than it was the day before. And I think if I experienced like real loss, like someone dying or like something actually bad and traumatic happening to me, I'm pretty sure I would experience really negative emotions again and like actually feel a lot of pain. But a lot of times when we're traumatized, the pain that we're experiencing is not really justified. And it's like, I don't, like, it's so valid for you to be feeling that, and you should be feeling that way based on your life experiences, but it's almost like a little irrational for the circumstances. Like, it shouldn't be painful for someone to really reject you because it's not actually a threat to your survival. We just think that it is because of our programming. So it's like all the old things that used to hurt and that do probably hurt most people no longer hurt. But I'm sure that if something like genuinely bad happened to me, that it would hurt. I don't know if I'm making sense in this video, but I don't really care. I guess it's just for me. One way that I've found to heal the old self and to like turn it into the new self is to give your old self whatever it is that it needs. And so sometimes when we're like quitting an addiction or when we're going through a heartbreak and we're letting go of an attachment to someone, there's a part of you that relied on that thing or that person for comfort and safety. And so whatever it is that you were relying on that thing for, you have to give it to yourself, to your old self. So I was doing a lot of like inner child meditations, but like not even inner child because it was like me from like a month ago or me from a few years ago. And really like giving myself, literally just like telling myself like, you're safe, you're like, okay, like I love you. Giving that version of me the things that the attachments were giving to me, and just like trying to give to that version of me the safety and the comfort and love and validation that the other things were giving me, so that all versions of me could let go of that attachment. Because there's going to be a version of you that relied on that thing for safety and comfort that is not going to want to let go of that thing because then they don't have safety and comfort. And so you have to give your past self safety and comfort and like let them know that they're okay and they're safe. And so that was super, super helpful for me to do that. And it's funny too, because a few months ago, I was like, okay, I think the only things I don't know how to help people with are grief and addiction. But I feel like through my breakup a few months ago, I really learned like how to heal that for myself at least. I used to have to control my thoughts to control my emotions. Like I had to not think about bad things happening in order to stay in a high vibration and like stay in a good mood. Or I had to believe that things would happen a certain way and believe in manifestation. But now I can think about anything and it doesn't hurt me to think about. Like I used to have to like not think about my dad in order to be happy because like that would upset me to think about. But now it's like I can think about absolutely anything in life and make peace with it and like feel okay when I think about it. And obviously there's some things that have like a little bit of a negative emotional charge. But it's just interesting because at first when I was healing, I had to really control my focus and like really control what I was thinking about, where my focus was going. And obviously I still do that to an extent, but it's like I don't have to feel good. I could think about anything and still feel good, which I think is interesting. And I'm just at a place now where I don't need to imagine a certain future. I don't need reassurance. I don't need to know that people like me or have good opinions of me. Like there's nothing that I need to feel happy. I don't need anything outside of myself in order to feel happy. And I still have desires, but I don't need anything. I don't feel attached to anything. I really learned to emotionally regulate myself and to give myself everything that I need. We try to control things to feel safe and control other people and predict the future. And I just don't need that anymore because I feel safe regardless. And I know that the universe is looking out for me and protecting me and that I'm gonna help myself through anything and I'm gonna be able to get myself through anything. And it was really necessary for me to be present with my emotions in order to be able to do that and to learn to emotionally regulate myself and to allow myself to really feel the full intensity of my negative emotions and let myself reach those low lows and still love and validate myself through all of it and comfort myself through all of it and accept every version of myself and every different feeling that I was having and every mistake that I've made, and just like giving that unconditional love to every single version of yourself and every single thought that you have. And you can't like shame and hate yourself into being a different person. You have to love all the different feelings and thoughts that you're having in order for them to start to become healthier. Another thing I've learned is to decide where people belong in your life based on their actions, not on their intentions or their heart or their soul, because I have so much empathy for other people and I'm a very forgiving person because I can really understand where everything comes from and like how the ego works, and I can just really empathize with why people make mistakes. And so it's hard to find where you draw the line when people mistreat you or when people make mistakes. And I think where you draw the line is when does it make you uncomfortable, when is it harmful to you? But you're never gonna like reject something that is the same as you treat yourself. You're always gonna attract someone who mirrors you, so however much you love yourself is however much someone else can love you, I think. There were certain parts of myself that I didn't accept and that I was critical of, but now that I fully love and accept myself, I would never get that close with someone who didn't view me the same way and give me the same grace and love that I give myself. But also, in order to be that way, they have to be that way with themselves and also love themselves and be forgiving of themselves. Like, it's true that you accept the love that you think you deserve. So if you don't feel deserving of being treated better, then you're gonna accept less than what you deserve. I think that healthy love is not possessive. It doesn't require anything from the other person because you're not relying on someone else to meet your needs. You're able to meet all of your own needs, and so you get to just enjoy someone else's presence and allow them to do whatever makes them happy. And obviously a lot of people don't experience this type of love in their lifetimes, and the majority of relationships are not this way because it takes a while to get to that point of not being possessive and not relying on other people for your needs. And it's fine wherever you're at in your journey. We're all at different places, but this is what I want for my next relationship. If you truly love someone, you would want what's best for them. You would want them to go after whatever it is that they want. You wouldn't want to block their success based on what you need and what you want from them, or block their dreams and their goals, or want someone who doesn't want you back. Like, your parents might love you, but if they're asking you to sacrifice your own needs and desires for them, that's not true unconditional love. And I know that's like a hard pill to swallow, but you really have to give it to yourself and choose yourself over what everyone else wants for you. And I think that it's nice to be selfish. I don't think that it's nice to be a people pleaser, because not only are you holding yourself back and betraying yourself, but you're also allowing that person to depend on you and to not reach their full potential because they're relying on you instead of learning to provide for themselves and love themselves. And I think that when we are selfish and we put ourselves first, it just sets a really good example for everyone else, and it ends up making everything fall into place in a way where the world can heal. Because I think we all have these different roles to play. And I think the more of us that tap into our intuition and really follow our desires, the more that everything is going to fall into place. Because we don't need one person to come and save the world. It's going to take a bunch of people just following whatever it is that they enjoy and what makes them happy. It's going to take a bunch of people in a bunch of different positions, and I don't think it's a coincidence that we all have different passions. Also, logic is really societal conditioning, and the logical thing to do is really just what society has taught us is right, and that's just a limiting belief. And the more that I learn to overcome my logical mind and my ego, and I really just blindly follow my intuition, the more things just magically work out for me so much better. And I think what's meant for you will come to you regardless, and it comes a lot faster when you follow your desires in every moment and you follow what brings you joy. So I've really been in this energy of just doing whatever makes me happy in each moment, regardless of whatever my logical mind is telling me, and not feeling the need to work hard. And it's funny because I get a lot of work done, but I literally never feel like I'm working because I'm always just doing it whenever I want to. But I think when you're like earlier on in your journey, it's hard to just follow your desires because your desires are a little bit warped until you can like really change your beliefs and your ego and kind of rewire that part of yourself and like heal in a certain way. I also just don't do things as a means to an end. I do things because I enjoy doing them. I don't do things out of curiosity. I don't do things out of wanting a certain outcome. And I think when you create art or you express yourself, you should be doing it for yourself, not for others, not to have other people perceive you a certain way, or because you think that people want to see a certain piece of content or art or a song. I think that you should create for the joy of creating and do whatever feels good to you. And I also think that creating art is just so beautiful. Like, it's amazing how we can transmute negative emotions and the worst things that have ever happened to us into art that can literally help millions of people feel a positive emotion. Like, I was watching this video of Grimes performing. That might be a bad example because I know she's like a controversial figure, but I love Grimes. I was watching this video of her performing and it was just bringing me so much joy, and there were all these people dancing in the crowd who were happy. And then I read that this song was about her sexual assault, and I was like, wow, it's beautiful how she like turned this horrible thing that happened to her into this song that is bringing joy to so many people and kick-started her career also, which, whether or not success and fame is a positive thing is kind of subjective, you know, but like in a way it is beautiful because she's able to help so many different people with her pain. And so I just think that's a really beautiful thing, and that it's so amazing that we have that ability as humans to take our darkest emotions and darkest experiences and turn them into something that makes other people feel good, like thousands of times more than how we felt bad, if that makes sense. And the last lesson that I've really been integrating this month is learning to stop resisting what is and just surrender to the way that things are. Stop trying to control my life, stop trying to control other people, stop trying to control myself even, and just accepting everything the way it is and like loving it unconditionally and surrendering. And this is really how you get rid of suffering. And I'm just at a place now where I love my life so much. I enjoy my life so much. I feel so fulfilled. Even though I'm like pretty isolated, I feel the least lonely I've ever felt because I feel so connected to myself and the universe and nature and other people. And yeah, life is really great right now. It has been for a while now. Better than I ever imagined life could be. And it's crazy to think it's just the beginning probably. And I know there's gonna be ups and downs, but it really does feel like I crossed a finish line, and like I got to a place of healing where I can actually really enjoy every second of my life and be present. And even my lowest low is just not difficult to deal with. The Processing Emotions workbook is out now. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get the ebook for $5 on my website. And it has all sorts of information on releasing emotions and how we heal, and then different ways to release and transmute emotions, cognitive distortions that you might be having, different ways to transmute specific emotions, and then a bunch of prompts to help you be present with your emotions. I think this book is really going to be helpful if you do end up getting it. If you don't have $5 and you want it, just send me an email. I'll send you it for free. It's really not about the money to me. If you do choose to support me, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.